Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in San Francisco, California, on lockdown. Day 17, 18, I lost count. But I remember 3 days prior to the lockdown, on March 13th, I did my first comic book retailing live stream. It was one of the 3 subjects I covered that day. And I talked about the comic shops being completely screwed. And this is prior to our mayor locking down our city on the 16th and our governor, Gavin Newsom, the one without a hair out of place, announcing that our state was on lockdown. And as soon as I heard that was going to happen, because we caught wind of it, Mrs. Nerdrotic actually caught wind of it, and she told me, that was the first thing I thought of. And I don't know why. I haven't been a shop owner for quite some time. I have separated myself from the industry, and I'm very happy I am not part of it anymore. But I did talk about it. That was the first thing I thought about, and I didn't think it would last to the 7th. And remember, April 7th was the original day they were going to lift it here. Of course, we're going to go well past that. And now we're looking at Diamond being shut down. We're looking at weeks without business. I heard some conservative estimates that if it opens up back in June, we would only lose 20% of the shops, which that might be right. I don't know. But then what's the percentage after that? Because I'm sure some will give it a go and try to open after that. And it'll be rough. It'll be rough. Now, you know, they have been they've been scrambling to find solutions. And that's good. That's good. It's about time. It's an industry that really didn't think about it very much for decades. Some tried. There were many who tried within the industry to get the comic shop owners together, to get Marvel, particularly Marvel, to be less predatory. DC followed suit. Everybody else followed suit. You know, IDW does plenty of variants, and we'll talk about that. But they really didn't think that much about the future because they were very comfortable. I mean, I was comfortable too. It's very convenient and easy to order from Diamond. It is. You got one little book that you open up, and, you know, there was also Baker Taylor, and there's other places you can go to. But mainly, you know, comic shop owners don't want to work that hard. Plus, there's plenty of work within the shop, especially if you deal with back issues like I did. You were constantly working. It was just easier to do that. Easier to have final order cutoff. It was convenience, and convenience can be the death of an industry. Almost like when you're a boss, you don't want your employee to be too comfortable. Kind of like, for example, Marvel. You know, where you have employees taking shots at fans for years, and they're not worried about a damn thing. That hurts your industry too. And here we are. So, funny thing happened, and we'll talk about it later. I had messaged a comic shop owner about a year ago, almost to the day. We had a little salty exchange. Apparently, this retailer didn't like what I was doing on YouTube, which is that person's prerogative. I don't mind that. A lot of people have a problem with what I do, although I think I'm pretty tame. And I had a very snarky response. I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm paraphrasing, and I'm sorry that your industry is in collapse. And they responded, our industry isn't in collapse. And I hadn't looked at that message until today. And I went, ooh, that didn't age well. Now, I'm not going to show the message. It's private messages, so I'm not going to show it. But yeah, here we are. Now, this isn't gloating. This is me presenting the consequences of actions. This is me trying to back up an argument that I have had, and many for much longer on this platform have had, that if you keep acting like this, your industry is going to suffer. And now it is. Of course, they don't think that's the reason. That's not even within the realm of possibility with some of these people. But as time goes on, it'll get there. And whether they believe it or not, if they don't start practicing good customer service yesterday, they won't have a job. You need to respect the fan. You need to stop calling the paying customer entitled, because they are entitled to some stuff, but not what you're saying. They are entitled to respect. That's the dog Roddick. She's about to go for a walk. So let's see who's here. And then we'll go over. So I made a tweet last night, kind of following up a tweet I made to Donnie Cates about a week ago. I'm going to paraphrase. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something to the effect of, the last person on this planet I would ask about the subject of comic book retail sales is a writer/artist from Marvel. And I followed it up with the second to last person I would ask is Rich Johnston from Bleeding Cool. So apparently he responded. I haven't seen the responses, so we'll go over them live. Now, I could have responded on Twitter, but I prefer to respond on this platform. And let's see who's here before we get to that. Also, we're going to go over Michael Chabon's interview. I was going to do a separate video on it, but I'm too busy doing the Star Trek Picard review, and I don't want to go over anything else I don't want to go over Star Trek Picard ever again after I do this review. I'm like so done with that garbage show that apparently was made to troll fans. So we're going to go over that article live today. We've got Andrew Banishers, Alistar B, Non-Stick Pansexual. The Starry-Eyed Girl is here with her wrench. Holding out for a hero girl. Hail! Will Gentry is here. Hail! Fred Derminst is here. Charles J. Hemphil is here. IK 1906, who was a member, welcome. Scott Murphy, welcome. Mando Merck, welcome. Mar Krell, welcome to the show. Joe W., who is a member, and Jadukan, who also is a member. Hail, Jadukan. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for being here. Loquacious Primate, how's it going? And yeah, we have a couple of articles. So Bleeding Cool has a solution, and there's nothing wrong with having a solution for the problem. But the solution is what every single retailer suspected it would be, and it would not include them. Now, they're going to start by trying to include them, but I'm here to tell you, and this is an absolute fact, digital comics will not save the comic book industry, and it will not save the comic book shops. You can try, give it a go. It's a stopgap. I'm sure there's some people who already use ComiXology who are planning to still use it. I'm pretty sure Marvel and DC will hold out as long as they can. They probably have some of the big boys threatening them right now, but what do they have? They have threats. Eventually, Marvel and DC have to make money. And, you know, I, of course, come from a retailer perspective, and it's biased. For a customer, I think you gotta release digital. It sucks for the shops. I would hate it. I would be one of those people fighting it. But if I'm a customer and if I want the digital comic and the company that provides comic books wants to give them to me, I think you should favor the customer first. If I'm going to stand by backing up the customer, which I do, I have to relinquish that then. I have to suffer. And hopefully I have enough confidence in my industry and my shop that it will survive customers reading digital comics for a couple, 3, 4, 20 weeks. And if your industry can't survive that, then maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not that strong of an industry. Why is it not that strong of an industry? Because you didn't think about the future. I tried, but I was just running my little shop. I didn't have a ton of power, I had zero power in the industry. I was just a little shop. I wasn't a big shop, and I'm glad I wasn't. I wasn't a medium shop. I was a tiny shop. And yes, I dug out. This is why I'm wearing a ratty shirt today. My comic outpost, we have issues. That was my little tagline. We have issues. Has a double meaning there, kind of like Nerdrotic. Yes. So we had another couple comic shops closed yesterday. I read one of them, and let's see who the other one was, and then we'll get to you guys. So, and sure enough, it's a couple in California. Now, Blue Moon has not officially closed yet. I want to correct that. They have not officially closed. They're considering it. They were having a hard time, as they said publicly. I shopped at that store. Nice guys, perfectly nice guys. It's actually a really good location in the beautiful town of San Rafael, California. It's a great town. As a matter of fact, I prefer, I know it's a little elitist, but I prefer Marin to downtown San Francisco. It's a little bit more like SoCal where I grew up. And I would certainly be interested in this location if we weren't in the times we are in. I would definitely be talking to them, but not now. Purple Turtle Comics in Vallejo, California. Can't say I've heard of this shop, to be honest with you. Bleeding Cool. Let me show it to you here. Bleeding Cool has confirmed that this store has permanently closed. After opening only a year ago, a popular store running signings with well-known comic book creators, the Diamond shutdown was too much, it seems. And that's that. Now, they have their solution over here. And I kind of thought, well, if it's going to click on it, I kind of thought that this was an April Fool's joke. By the way, don't forget to read Bleeding Fool. It's much better than Bleeding Cool. But it wasn't a April Fool's joke. They had a solution, and they're going to use something called ComicHub. Now, that must have popped up after my time. I sold my shop in 2013. Things were still going great. Marvel was on top of the world. Marvel Now was just starting. Now, I had no idea where it was going, and it ended up going into the all-new, all-different, and Secret War, and Yahtzee Captain America, and the beginnings of SJW Marvel. So this morning, Bleeding Cool broke the story of a new attempt to save the comic shop, suffering in the you-know-what era. A number of printers have shut down. Diamond Comics Distributors has closed its doors. Most digital comics are on hold. Publishers are reducing and delaying their schedule. Most comic stores have shuttered for the duration. However, all this time, comic store software management company ComicHub, owned by comic shop owner Stu Colson, has been creating a new tool. One that would allow comic book, I think it says book customers, not comic bool customers, of stores to pay and pre-order comic books from their store, read them now on the ComicHub app, then receive them later in print. The Bleeding Cool ran the story and everything exploded. I think we may have been the canary in the coal mine on this one. And we'll go over a little bit. I got to see how many details they have of what this process is and how it will work. But I will begin with this. I'm guessing this is based on needing contact information for your customers. So I would guess that most comic shops probably have an email list, and with their subscribers, they have all their contact information, but they don't have contact information for their walk-ins. And they don't have contact info or current contact information. So that's a percentage of their client base. And of that percentage, only a percentage is going to use ComicHub or already does use ComicHub. And of that percentage, only a percentage is actually going to follow through and pay for it. So you are talking about, I'll go high on the estimate, 30% of your subscribers, like the hardcore ones. Out of my subscriber base, only 30% of them were hardcore, coming in every Wednesday. And I gave them every incentive. I gave them an extra discount to come in once a week. I did everything I could. I had the best discount in the city. People called me crazy for having it. It worked for a long time. It really did, because it was just volume. I had people, my store on Wednesday was packed. There were lines out the door. The last 3 years I was in business, even though I was personally self-destructing, on that last year, I had people lining up out the door every Wednesday. And then Thursday started getting nuts too. And then Saturday, it was nuts. And I had my kids section. Things were rolling. Kids' birthday parties. Things were going good for a while. Unfortunately, that store, I don't believe, I haven't been in there much. I drive by once in a while. And I've driven by on Wednesday. Now, it depends on the time. There are times where it's quiet in the store. I don't know if it's been like that since then. But still, people like the tangibility of comics, but you're offering up to customers a chance to read it on an app that belongs to one guy, so I'm sure he is 1,000% behind this plan. And I'm sure he gets a little kickback. But I'm guessing the discounts aren't as good. It is a revenue flow. So, yes, it's good to have some cash coming in, but the amount coming in would be minuscule. And the amount of losses you would have, and the amount of people who wouldn't even bother coming in and picking their books, but you're obligated to hold on to those books now because they paid for them, this would be a nightmare. And if this goes on 20 weeks, it would be a nightmare. Brian Hibbs puts it best on his Facebook page. As a response to this. And again, it looks like you have to go through some flaming hoops on this app to even get the book. And I have a lot of questions, but we're going to go to Brian Hibbs' response to this. I messaged him earlier today. I wonder if he responded. I'm just going to read this to you. I'm not going to pop up his Facebook. This was yesterday at 8:10 a.m., and I read it yesterday, but this is in context for this. A poll on a retail forum right now has 119 retailers opposed to ComiXHub, this situation, 17 unsure, and 5 for digital first release, even if it comes from a retailer source. Beyond the philosophical idiocy of encouraging cross-channel migration, even passively, which is digital first, having access to your content prior to you buying it. The mechanical aspects of it are insane. How could anyone process and deal with 420 weeks of physical print comics dropping at once? That would be needed to catch up. That would be a lot of comics dropping all at once. That would be impossible to catch up. I could barely make a profit with my much, much larger discounts than what the ComiXHub plan offers. And this creates an exponential amount more of work in having to track and organize such sales. I tell you right now, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it just for that. All for what would be a paltry revenue stream. I am now firmly convinced that Marvel and DC didn't cave to the retailer. This is the important part. I am now firmly convinced that the Marvel and DC didn't cave to the retail pressure, which is like 90% against, but that they merely hit pause so that Stu Coulson the owner of ComicHub, and ComicHub could provide them with a fig leaf of cover. The fig leaf of cover, they need to go full bore on ComiXology. Seriously, people, this is a shitty plan, and any publisher that goes for it is my enemy. So I don't think it's going to save the comic shops, Rich or Stu. Doesn't sound like they're for it. And I think Brian's response is tepid compared to some others. I can imagine what Jamie Newbold would say. And I doubt he would go for this either. I could be wrong. And but the comics, bringing up ComiXology is very interesting because, of course, you all know that Amazon owns ComiXology. And that would be a real easy way to distribute books, wouldn't it? If you just decide to partner up with them. All bets are off. We don't know if Diamond's going to reopen. Now, as it stands, they probably are. But I don't know. There was a lot of finality in that message from Steve Jeppe or his lawyer or whoever made that statement. Or no, it was from Jeppe itself because he mentioned like, it's been a real good run. You know, it's like, you don't say that when you plan to come back. Yeah, so I think that Marvel and DC it's on they're planning it. They're planning to move on from comic shops. Whether they do or not, that remains to be seen. It's on the table. It's absolutely on the table, and I hope comic shop owners know that. And there is some comic shop owners who really caught on to this a long time ago. This was going to happen all along. It was probably years away. I would say 5 to 7 years away, but this was going to happen. Now it's happening. It's not. You can't unmake the soup on this. Marvel and DC will be drastically changing how they do business because both their parent companies are in massive debt, and they're not making any money. And Disney in particular isn't making any money on their parks, which covered a lot of losses for them. So what happens? We'll see. But Marvel and DC are planning to abandon the comic shops. And if the comic shops want to stay in business, I would seriously think about just going to a boutique format. Still sell your graphic novels. If you want to still sell new comics, have a little shelf. And a lot of them have already done that. Because the comics have been such shit. That was my plan in 2013. If I was going to stay, it was going to be getting rid of the new release eventually, which I never thought I would say because I love the new release rack and the pamphlet. I love it. And just go to a boutique, vintage, comic, toy, vinyl store. With, an emphasis on comics. 70% of the store would still be comics. Maybe make some coffee in there. I don't know. Something to stay in business. And I think that might work. Mile High Comics, I believe, got rid of Diamond a year ago. And that was a smart move. But I'm glad I'm not selling comics, and I feel bad for the Joe Fields of the world and Brian Hibbs and Car D'Angelo and all the good guys out there in the industry who just want to have fun and sell comics and don't really want to take part. Now, are some of them responsible for this? Yes, of course. Not saying anything. And when somebody did try to say something at a retail summit at Diamond in 2017, that turned into a shit show, which that is what I think was one of the major sparks in the whole movement against SJW Marvel, the rise of Comicsgate. People talk about the milkshake day, but I think it was that retail summit that really got things going. Listen, they were going long before that. Like I said yesterday, Doug Ernst was out there years before any of this on his blog, Take It On Dan Slott, And hey, I had customers complaining about it in my shop in the mid-aughts. It wasn't enough to hurt business back then, but it was noticeable when people came in and go, could you believe what she said on Twitter? Stuff like that. That's the start of this. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. How many times do I got to say it? Now you've bled to death. And you're bleeding 4 colors. And it makes me sad. I'm not gloating over any of this shit. because I definitely wanted to get back in the business again, not with any of these people. And when and if I own a new shop, depends on how the economy is. It depends on, right now my wife's salon is not open. And that's a thing that we have to think about. Well, luckily, we have saved up a little bit, but we are not rich people. And neither is not many comic shop owners are. Now there are some who are independently rich, trust fund kids that will stay open probably because they don't need to make money. It's a hobby. But that's what the entire industry has become, is a hobby. It's either a stepping stone or a hobby. Somebody does something on the side. I know a couple. Well, actually, I don't want to out. There's a comic shop I know that's owned by 3 people who have day jobs, and they just take shifts at the shop, and they do it for fun. The creatives, quote unquote, at Marvel and DC are all trying to get to Hollywood. That's all they're doing. We don't have many people who just want to draw comic books, and that's all they want to do. Everybody wants a script. There are entire publishers dedicated to just selling scripts. Black Mask, and or publishing scripts that didn't get sold. IDW, everything is reliant on their properties and their IPs. Lock and Key got renewed for a season 2, and that might prop them up for a little while. But yeah, it's no Witcher. It's no Stranger Things. I don't know how they can carry a whole company. And the Hollywood bubble is burst as well. Superhero movies, genre movies, science fiction movies are very expensive to make. Are they going to be eager to do that? Are they going to have the cash flow to do that? Now, it's always been stated that Hollywood is recession proof, and it's proven that in the past. But it's a different Hollywood now. It's a corporate Hollywood. It was even more corporate than it was in 2008. So now we have conglomerates owning everything, and they're probably going to have to sell some of that stuff off so they can pay some of their people. Bob Iger took a pay cut. Good for him. Probably a PR stunt, but good for him. And every time I think about it, I think about Geeky Candy's story that they spent 50% of an entire day at a board meeting on inclusivity and diversity. That's funny. And that's within a month of this happening. And that means they knew this was happening because people knew this was happening 2 months ago. It was actually mentioned in a speech that got ripped up. If you know, I don't get political, but it was mentioned. So there's no new updates from that. I have been looking at the Facebooks of shop owners, and I think they're hunkering down. I wish them all luck. I want them all to survive. I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and 30 to 40 to 50% of the shops won't be gone within 6 months. And again, when this thing is over, there's going to be some shops who open and then decide to close down if they don't have a good Christmas. Hell, Joe Field from Flying Colors Comics, the creator of Free Comic Book Day, and I said this yesterday, has a very strong, good shop in Concord, and he had to ask his customers to come in and start buying books around the holidays. He needed a good holidays. And that's no shade on him at all. He's a great comic book retailer. He's been there for years. He's a pioneer in the industry. That just shows you times were tough. Times were tough. Let's get to you a little bit, and then we'll go back to see what that plan is, and then we'll read the tweets live. And again, I haven't read the tweets. I don't know what they say. They could be complimentary. I don't know. I've never talked to the dude. I did tweet at him. I did. Bargain Shop for $10 says thank you. No, thank you. Thank you, Bargain Shop. There's going to be a lot of bargain shops, and that's good. We need bargain shops. I hope we enter an era where the customer is king and queen. It doesn't matter. I'm not using that as a gender-specific thing. It's 2020. But yes, I truly hope the customer is respected like the royalty they are, because they pay you. You are directly. How do you think that company that hires you, pencils down, by the way, hashtag pencils down. The pencils have gone down. Who do you think that person who gave you that order, why do you think they gave you that order? Because they are not getting any money from, say it with me, comic book artists. You want to act like children? I'll treat you like children. Say it with me. Why is it pencils down? Because the customer can't make it to the shop to pay the shop owner to pay you, your parent company. Pencils down. Or, I don't know, switch off your 3D modeling. The first super chat of the day is from our old friend, the Doctor 14 Blu-ray Reviews, who takes issue with my hashtag RIP Doctor Who. I do not use the hashtag Doctor Who anymore, and a lot of you haven't, and I bless your heart for it because that actually helps them. They think, well, it makes them think there's a lot more interest in their show than there is. Same thing with Star Trek. They just see a hashtag and they'll take that as a positive view. But it's not. So we start using RIP Doctor Who. But the Doctor 14 Blu-ray Reviews gives me £2 to say hashtag Doctor Who. Thanks. I appreciate it. There was a time I was very much behind that hashtag. CM Shazam for $9.99. My local comic book store is still doing curbside pickup. Good. I would love to connect you Diamond D Destroyers with my cousin in the industry and see if you all can keep this thing going, even underground. I hope it keeps going. The reason I am making videos, the reason I'm talking about this is because it's an important subject to me. I'm interested in it. I want to go back to it. I was in this industry. I love this industry, and I want comic shops to stay alive. So bringing attention to it in however way I do it helps. Whether they want it or not, it helps. If if there wasn't a bunch of YouTubers talking about this and a bunch of people on Twitter, it wouldn't be written about in the Hollywood Reporter twice. So, yeah. The access media kind of follows YouTube these days. That's just the way of things. Not saying it was me, just saying there was a lot of people talking about it. And there's been a lot of people talking about it a lot longer than me. So I would just, if anybody says, hey, you're jumping on a bandwagon, no. I've been around a while. Ken Kersey for $5. With the lockdown, is there less poop on the streets? Well, I was going to say that yesterday, but today, poop is back on the streets. It's almost like we're returning to normalcy. I hope you're all safe out there. Marcus Aurelius Fortunatus for $5. Bike shops have been designated essential. Why not comic shops too? Have they? Is a bike shop? Yeah, no, you know what? I can argue it's essential, especially here. A lot of people ride bikes around here. I think, you know what? GameStop is douchey, but I think entertainment is essential. But the thing is, we can get so much of it at home. And here's the problem. I am a customer first person, always, even when I was at my shop. And that's why I had a hard time with digital. Because if that's what the customer wants, that's what they want. My job is to be better than digital. How am I going to be better than digital? Well, I need to practice good customer service. You want to know the key to running a successful comic shop. The very first thing you have to have in mind all the time above anything else can be learned. How to run a business can be learned. You know what? You don't even have to know that much about comics and you can run a comic shop. That can be learned. Everything can be learned. You know what can't be taught or learned because you're either born with it or not? A personality that goes with good customer service. You have to be a people person. You have to like people. You have to be open to a lot of different opinions. And you have to have a very broad taste in comic books, too. You can't run a shop being a Marvel guy or a DC guy. It doesn't work. And I've always leaned Marvel. That was my first love. But I like DC just as much. As a matter of fact, I like DC a little more right now, to be honest with you. But I love them both. Good customer service comes first. It's just like in recovery. The first thing you wake up, you have to think of when you wake up, first thing above your family, above your kids, above your dog, above your job, above everything is your sobriety, because nothing happens without that. Same goes for comic shop retailing. And I learned that from my friend Doug and Glenn Thayer, and a guy named Glenn Thayer. They were both my bosses at the warehouse, where I didn't practice very good customer service at first, but they taught me. So that's what I do. You greet the customer when they walk in the door. There's two reasons you do that. Security, you let the customer know that I know that you walked in my store, and to be friendly. Say hello, welcome. Let me know if you need any help. Don't hover, because you start hovering, it makes it look like you don't trust them. You know, it's weird. 10 years, I only caught one thief. There had to be more, but I only caught one thief. I didn't know. No, one time a CGC book got taken. But yeah, pretty amazing. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Marcus. Huron the Steadfast is a member at the Joloja level. Joloja, welcome. Thank you, Huron. And then we had Ferdinand Hubman is now a member at the Joloja level. Joloja. Now, if you don't know what Joloja is, it's from the Orville. Check it out. Orville is available on Hulu. For the low price of $5.99 for the basic plan and $11.99 for the premium plan without commercials, you get 2 seasons. And if you just, if you just get a month, you can burn through 2 seasons of the Orville. It's worth every penny. Cannot recommend it enough. It is Star Trek now. If you're missing Star Trek, watch the Orville. You will get your Star Trek fix. I would have to say, I'm going to get back into comics, but I have to say, after I watched Picard, it is now confirmed Picard is the 6th best captain in the Star Trek universe. If you're going to count that as canon, he has fallen from grace. So yeah, it's Captain Kirk has always been the best. And then Sisko, Mercer, Janeway, Archer, Picard. Dan Piper for 10 New Zealand dollars. Getting my daily Nerdrata. Keep up the great work while I enjoy lockdown in New Zealand. Middle Earth. I'm going to go down there someday. I hate flying, but I'm going down there. I got to go see Hobbiton, so we'll do a meetup. Flower Angel 1070 is a member at the proto-molecule level. Welcome. Thank you very much. We'll do one more question, and then we'll get into the ComicHub plan. IK1906 for $5. This ComicHub plan they revealed sounds like comic shops will just get stuck with a bunch of product that they can't move. That's what it sounds like to me. So ComicHub apparently is an app, and I heard this in a your boy Zach video that only 100 shops are participating of the supposed 2,000 shops we have. I question that number now, but I have my reasons. I question that number. So 100 participate. So you're going to have to get a bunch of comic shop owners to get on the same page. Never going to happen. Even if their actual lives depended on it, and even if this was an actual good plan, that will never happen. At best, you'll get 40%. And that's, I think I'm overestimating. There have been attempts by much better people than myself, much more talented people than myself, much more knowledgeable people than myself to try to get the comic book industry or retailing industry on the same page. I don't think Brian was able to do it even when he was suing Marvel and would have made them all money. I'm sure some fought him on it just to be dicks. That's comic book retailing. So if we go to this plan here, now I'm going to read it on Newsarama because I can't stand Bleeding Cool. But Bleeding Cool, Rich Johnson's acting like he suggested this, and maybe he did. I don't know. I don't care. The 80 poundest of 80-pound Gorilla's final order cutoff for April 15th in-store product is today, with May dates right around the corner. Estimates from within Diamond Comics distributors project that the orders from April to May will decrease by a seven-figure sum. That's $1 million or more. The main culprits seem to be a general fear and uncertainty in consumer spending, coupled with the disruption in traditional buying patterns. Combine that with the fact that as many as 35% of the comic shops are in shelter-in-place states, and many are predicting a rocky few months. Some stores plan on cutting to the bone as a safety/default position. That's a smart position. Comics Conspiracy of Sunnyvale, California plans on ordering for subscriptions and special orders only. And they would have to ask. If it was me, they would have to ask. I would let them know, are you going to be on hold? What's going on? Writer Lee Williams, X Factor, is polling comic stores and has compiled a list of over 300 stores with the notion of creating a resource that will allow buyers to find stores that do curbside pickup. That's smart. Mail order and more. I would most definitely do curbside pickup. I don't know if we're allowed to, but being allowed to wouldn't stop me. ComicHub has become a very popular point of sale system in comic stores. Is 100 comic shops popular? And in the wake of disrupted buyers patterns, has offered stores discounts and free software installation as a way of helping generate orders. So, publishers such as Oni Press and Image Comics are offering retailers returnability. Good for them. Image was the first to shoot back, so props to Image. While Marvel is offering deeper discounts to stores who can't receive product and customers who cannot go to shop. So I don't know what good that does. Publishers such as Boom Studios are contemplating reducing new titles to limit the amount of product in the marketplace in what is predicted to be a difficult time. Retail is skittish, and there are no easy answers. Car D'Angelo. I'm going to applaud Car D'Angelo. I love Car D'Angelo. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Car, if you're out there, I hope you're doing well. Owner of the two Earth 2 comic stores in Los Angeles, where the city, county, and state have mandated that non-essential businesses go on pause, suggests a pause for the entire comic business, even if it's brief. I agree with that. That's what I would. As a matter of fact, I would think every retail business should pause that's non-essential right now. Everybody pause. We lift off the pause button when this is over, and I think that would lessen the impact. Anybody who continues doing business in anything right now, I don't know if that's helping if you're non-essential. We're being sent product for which we will be billed, but we cannot sell, D'Angelo said. I know I'm closed for a month. I can't pivot overnight to mail order. And even if I could, it might be only 20 or 30% of what I typically sell. We are stores that order heavily for the shelf. We encourage walk-in and browsing shopping. It's a huge part of our business that will now be gone. I'm happy to try to figure out what my business will be in the next few months. But I know right now that if I usually sell 50 copies of Thor a month, I won't do that this month. Let's take a week off. Let's figure this all out. I completely agree with Carr. Level-headed, smart man. Please shop at Earth 2 when they open back up. They're good shops, by the way. They're good shops. Joe Field of Flying Colors in Concord, California, reminds us that any retail business is larger than just the product it sells. What happens in the comic business is 180 degrees of what I need. Field said, the other half of the circle is my lease, my employees, all those other matters in the comic business. I need major suppliers like Diamond, and with them, DC and Marvel, to really step up and make sure they do things that don't just give our business to large mail order suppliers and digital. I need them to be thinking hard about what it means to have this network of stores on the front lines every day. And yes, I've always said that. It's not a term I came up with, but comic shops are now the lone thing that are on the front line of fandom. And I've said it for a long time on this channel. If you want to know what the temperature of fandom is, you talk to a comic shop owner, one that actually works every day and talks to the fans every day. And you will have a pretty good grasp on what fan sentiment is towards anything, a TV show, a movie, a comic book, because you hear every opinion. I mean, somebody will walk in and say, Marvel One More Day was the worst goddamn thing to ever happen to comics. And a guy will walk in and go, I kind of liked it. You know, I mean, there's people who like Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. Field also wants this message to reach the upper echelons, like Bob Iger. And by the way, Warner Brothers has a new CEO. I welcome you. Please stop all of this nonsense that's going on in entertainment, this woke nonsense. Just make entertainment. Nobody's asking anybody to change their politics. Practice good customer service. So I welcome you, sir, and release the Snyder Cut. I know that we direct market retail stores are essentially the flea on the elephant's butt. But when it comes to overall business at Disney or at AT&T, when it comes to overall business at Disney and AT&T, but I also know how important this market is for driving those billion-dollar sales of media. Both D'Angelo and Field, two people I respect in this industry that should be listened to, along with Hibbs, and many other retailers have noted that many customers are stepping up and doing what they can right now. And that is that customer loyalty that no GameStop or chain retail store could ever achieve. That is something unique to the mom and pop comic shop. You get to see the owner every day. That owner is accountable to you. You can talk to him, correct something, get a discount. It's a beautiful thing. That's why we need shops. We don't need them closing. We don't need these mom and pops closing. That's the best part of capitalism. That's the beautiful part of capitalism is the mom and pop shop. Often buying gift cards from stores for cash flow today so they can get books at a later date. That's cool. I think James Sim at Isotope is doing a similar thing. That's another good store. In the litany of publishers' marketing statements and offering relief, DC Comics had been noticeably absent, but certainly internal discussions have been taking place and plans are being formulated at DC. With the final order cutoff of April 15th, product happening today, a new data point will be available to DC. And all the final order cutoff publishers, there will be additional plans from DC. Well, we know the plans from DC. We've heard those plans. Full steam ahead. F you, comic shops. And that brings us to this. Now, this is going to blow up. I don't know if you can see it in the whole image now. There we go. I'm just going to keep it like that. All right. So ComicHub, I'll get back to you guys in just a second. ComicHub, this looks complicated to me. Now, I know Zach went over this, and I agree with him. Now, I don't see where payment is here. So it starts at the publisher. It gets uploaded to the previews image. You have to download an app that you have to learn. I'm sure it's pretty easy. Retailer app, retailer website. Okay, so does it have to be connected to a website? Do you have to have a website? Can you put it on a Facebook? Can you put it? You can't put it on Twitter. So you have to have a website. Not every shop has a website. Now, shops, it's very easy to have a website. You could start if you want to do this, you can go to WordPress and start a free website today just for this. Order sent to favorite shop. Confirmation goes to app. So you can only read it on the app. So you have to pay for it on the app. I'm assuming you're paying for this before you read it. All right. So there has to be some kind of payment process. What is it? Is it Venmo? Is it PayPal? Do you pay the store directly with a credit card? How do you get a receipt? Who keeps track of all the comics? Oh, the shop owner. And I'm sure they think, well, you've got all that extra time. You know what the shop owners are doing with all that extra time? Trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills now. Ubering. Who knows if you can do that? Doing other things. It's hard to innovate in fear. I mean, sometimes we get some good innovation and we might. This isn't it. This isn't it. So I'll tell you why this just won't work. I'm sorry. I don't mean to shoot it down, Rich Johnson, but I wouldn't put a headline saying, I saved the comic book industry. I know you're being cutesy-putesy, but you're not saving it because you haven't worked at a comic shop. You haven't been there on Tuesday night receiving shipment from Diamond, bagging and boarding all the books until 4 in the effing morning. Getting to know customers. You know that thing, customer service? I know you're often alone in your office. It's a customer interaction. It's people skills. It's facing skills. And you have conversations, sometimes long conversations with customers who want to talk to you about stuff that you might generally not be interested in. But you know what? I never had that problem. I'll talk to anybody about anything and for hours. And that's the one thing that helped cover up a lot of my flaws. I had flaws as an owner, of course. I was learning on the job. I never owned a business before. I breezed through small business for dummies, and I got pretty decent with it, but then I got self-destructive. It was my fault. I can't blame Diamond or Marvel or DC for my store's destruction at all. That was all me. All right, so they're going to have to pay for this app. As I said before, you're going to have everybody's contact information. Well, you don't. You don't have the walk-in information. You might have bad emails. So you're counting on your hardcore subscriber base. Well, like I said earlier in the live stream, if you're lucky if you get 30% of them coming in regularly to give you a revenue stream. Now, it's better than nothing. I understand that, but I'm pretty sure the individual comic shops have already figured out curbside and other things where they can get bigger discounts. And that's what I'd be offering. I'd be offering stuff like, hey, come and get your whole disc. I'll give you 50% off if you buy out your box, if your box is huge or something like that, just to get something going. And then I would start an online store, but not everybody can do that. I mean, eBay is an option right now. I would start eBay. You have that extra time, start taking pictures, eBay, all your pop vinyls and stuff, and never carry that stuff again if you do. So we're talking about, there's so many hurdles here that, and convenience is the key. Now, it doesn't look like much, but this is way too much for a comic book customer to go through. So ComiXhub will be a revenue stream for some. It is not the savior of the industry. I like the idea of getting a collected list of curbside availability, but sometimes that's not an option either. So sorry, this isn't going to save the comic book industry because not enough of your customers will do it. And I have another question. Is Marvel and DC going to participate in this? Have they said they're okay with giving their digital files to ComiXhub? Because the minute that hits ComiXhub, I mean, I'm sure every customer is trustworthy. That stuff won't hit the high seas. And then let's get to the let's get to the nitpicky details. How many of the customers have an iPad or a tablet? Are you going to read it on your phone? You can't read a comic on your phone. Not even when it's this big. You can't read a comic book on your phone. So you just keep whittling it down, and then you're going to get down to maybe 5 or 10% of your customer base is going to use this. Is it worth the time? Then time becomes an issue. Let's get back to you guys here. Thanks for hanging in there. So, sorry, It's not going to work, but they are working on solutions, and that's a good thing. And if what would I think of right now? Like I said, the shop owners do need to get together. There needs to be a network where you all need to talk to each other, and they do. There are some forums, but it's not everybody. So I would, Brian and I have our differences, but I would strongly encourage getting in contact with Comics Pro, and maybe Comics Pro can finally do some good. My biggest problem with Comics Pro is they let publishers in the door. It was supposed to be an organization of retailers, and then they let DC come in and offer freebies and stuff like that, and it lost all purpose. It lost all purpose. Now, I'm not a pro-union guy, but I'm okay with having a loose collection of shop owners sometimes uniting in a voice when we're being screwed over. But again, the digital problem is not one I can honestly argue against. I could just say I'm a biased shop owner and I think digital will probably hurt my business. But if the customer wants it, then the customer will just get it through ComiXology. So I don't know why they would get it through ComicHub. That's charity. It's charity. So you might as well set up a GoFundMe. We had a shop, and I'll announce it here. We had a shop set up a GoFundMe. I made an offer yesterday. I'm standing by that offer, and haven't gotten an email yet. So I don't know if I should make a video on it, but so I will match your boy Zach's offer. Zach from Richard from Comics Matter offered $1,000 to a comic shop in need. One that's still open, one that's going to stay open, one that can prove to me that they have a business license that I can check out. And the first one who emails me with comic shop help at Gary@nerdrotic.com, no strings attached, $1,000. I'll donate it. I'll give back a little bit. It's not, hey, it's not, it might pay a couple of bills. It'll pay your power bill for a couple months, a little bit of your rent, and it's not going to save your shop or anything, but I just want to do something, just something. What I can. I can't, I've got kids to feed too, but I definitely want to help somebody. And I'm trying to help. Yes, I am railing on Marvel and DC for the way they've treated the customers because it's hurt the shops. And shop owners, you need to realize that. You need to recognize that and realize it and call it out. Just because a vast majority of you agree with the comic book / artist writers politics doesn't matter. It flat out doesn't matter. When comic artists and writers are saying F you to any customer, even if it's some anonymous guy who called them an a-hole first, shooting back is childish. You're freaking adults, okay? And it looks like goddamn high school. And people see that, and most people don't say anything. They just walk away. And so the fact that you're seeing or hearing silence doesn't mean people aren't walking away and pissed off. The numbers reflect that. Get your heads out of your asses. Your industry isn't growing. It's stagnant. It's been stagnant, and now it's at the brink, and I want it to be healthy. How do you start getting healthy? Practicing good customer service from the bottom up, period, which means mandating your employees shut the hell up. Even your contracted employees. If you work for me, because I said that at my shop, if you work for me, you are not free to say whatever the hell you want on social media because you are cross-pollinating with my customers, with your customers. So if you're popping off about a president, you risk offending them. It doesn't mean you can't have those beliefs. It doesn't mean you can't privately share those beliefs, but you have the option. If you want to work for me, you got to cut that stuff out on social media. That's it. Is it suppressing free speech? Sure. Yeah, me paying my bills matters more to me. And you getting paid matters more to me. And you're really not going to change anything, for one. And yeah, you get some, whatever amount of likes you get, just think you're probably getting that same amount of dislikes. And again, the silence. I also want you to notice that when somebody makes a political statement and you have massive followers, take a look at the likes. So if you have like 250,000 followers and you're getting like 1,000 likes, that should say something. Flower Angel 1070 is a member at the proto-molecule level. Welcome, welcome. And IK1906, thank you again for the super chat. Jack Bauer for $5. Have you played Lord of the Rings Conquest? I haven't. You can play Battle of the Shire. Thanks for the continued analysis and Lord of the Rings awareness. Of course, listen, I will do more Lord of the Rings streams. I've got a ton of positive responses on my chill stream from a couple nights ago, where we didn't talk about anything other than Lord of the Rings and we just bullshitted for a couple hours. And it was great. It was fun. I will be doing those once a week. Guaranteed, because I need to take a break, especially after watching my beloved industry fall apart. And it's for the exact reason I thought it would be. And when you try to warn people and simply say, can you stop? Can you just effing stop? Yeah, there are fans, there are customers out there who are salty, who will say inappropriate things. You need to ignore it like most adults do. You are a professional. And when even your biggest fan sees you yelling at somebody, it turns them off. Because you know what they see? They see what I see. Lack of gratitude. It's like, why? This is an artist on Spider-Man. This is a writer of The Amazing Spider-Man. That is a top tier book. That is a top tier comic position to be at. When somebody says something to you, just the first thing you should think about, Dan Slott, is I get to write Amazing Spider-Man. Who cares what that guy thinks? Especially when you're mostly getting accolades. I don't know why, because I thought your writing was terrible. But some people liked you. Maybe a solution to keeping comic stores, not the best solution, I admit, is to be a geek store. By geek store, I mean trade DVDs, toys, etc. Have a section of comics. At least this way they survive. Joe W., that's what I would recommend right now. I would make the switch. What I did, and this was out of necessity, is I stopped buying trades from Diamond because I was right next to a school. And right before summer, I had 2 or 3 long boxes of trades coming in, and I gave pennies on the dollar for the trade, and people just wanted to get rid of them. And I was able to stock an entire trade section with used trades. I would special order new ones, and the new release ones I would get, but I would, back order stuff. I would maybe Sin City and Watchmen, just the basic stuff. Keith Mayo is a new member at the proto-molecule level. Welcome. And hell, if I hadn't fallen off the wagon and remained sober, would I still be there? No. I would have hated this. This would have frustrated the hell out of me. I would have been the old man screaming at clouds. I'd be causing trouble at retail summits. I would go to retail summits to cause trouble, and nothing would change, and it would be frustrating, and I'd probably quit. I always knew when I bought the store, I just knew. I'm like, I'm not going to do this forever. Just like this. I'm not going to do this forever, but I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. And you know what? I can go back to it. And I wanted to continue, but my behavior was just too self-destructive at the time. I had to get right in the head. I had to get right. I had to get humble. I had to get right. I basically had to start out from scratch again. I had to go back to some old jobs. I had to go work a job where I had to wear a uniform. I worked at O'Reilly, at a huge, I used to sell parts professionally for dealerships for freaking $30 an hour. And I was working at an O'Reilly for like $12.50 an hour. That was my first job back, and worked my way up, and here I am. Doing okay. And I'm in the position where I could open a shop. I have the stock, but I don't have the desire right now. But I will, and when I do, I'll keep doing this. It'll be part of the shop. But it looks like if I do, it'll be here. Hopefully the rents will be cheaper. And hopefully this doesn't go on too long. But that's what I would do. That would be a fun shop to go to. That would do well here. It would do well here. Now, you don't have that constant cash flow of Wednesday comics, but that's gone now. That is gone. That is gone. Scooby D, welcome to the Geloja level. Thank you for being here. There will be a members only stream sometime today, probably in this evening. Scooby D, thank you. Problem being for $1.99. Have you seen the BBC Doctor Who Best of Series 12 video? I have, problem being. It was so funny. There is a Doctor Who video I will be releasing sometime next week. I started working on it, but the Picard review got in the way. But it's my response to What Culture's video. And that'll be out sometime this week. And yeah, R.I.P. Doctor Who, it's dead. And sorry, folks, I haven't talked about Doctor Who. We'll be talking about Doctor Who because there's sentiment growing out there that somehow Bull's Trek, Heels versus Babyface, yours truly, Doomcock, Clownfish TV, and they probably blame Critical Drinker. He's in there too, and Dave Cullen kept people from watching Series 12. Wow. I didn't know I had that much power. Well, then everybody watch all of my videos now. Doesn't work that way. Gary, I love your Biachin t-shirt. Thanks. And I'd love to buy a new one in XL. Make more. Teespring is calling. J Flow Flicks, would you guys want a Comic Outpost shirt? I kind of like to have a new one. Yeah, I'll make some. Sure. I'll try to make them very affordable. Okay? But if you guys want one, I'll make one. We did make a new batch of Nerdrotic shirts and they are lost in shipping. So Quarter Black Garrett, if you're out there, it's at a hub somewhere. I don't know if Mrs. Nerdrotic can hear me, but she's watching probably. But it'll be here eventually, and when it is, we'll let you know when the giveaway. We normally give our stuff away, but if I do sell it, I'll sell it at close to cost. I'm not trying to gouge anybody, but if you generally want one, I'll sell it as close to cost as possible. How's that sound? Bargain Shop, thank you again for the $10. And speaking of Heels versus Babyface, there he is. Great YouTuber, good guy, Batman fan. Dude, we had that conversation on Friday Night Tights, and now I want to read Nightfall again. It's all your fault. I had to go dig out my Nightfalls. They were buried, but I found them, and yeah. See, that's the thing. That's what sells comic shops at a comic store, is talking to customers. That's why I stole the idea from James at Isotope and put salon chairs and couches in my shop so people can sit there, and I let people read my books. Because if they read your books, they want to talk about them. And if they talk about them, you get to talk to you get to talk about comics with somebody for a living. That's what you get to do. And within those conversations, there's other people in the store. And then they hear you talking, like Az was talking about Nightfall, and he was selling it. Like, I guarantee you, Az, you sold probably 4 or 5 trade paperbacks on Amazon just by talking about Nightfall and talking about how much you love that story. That sells more comics than anything. I can't even tell you. The same thing went at the record store. Doug and I would put on a soundtrack. We put on. They actually did this in High Fidelity. When John Cusack's character he's all, I'm going to sell 5 of these right now. And he puts on a disc, and then people start asking about it. Well, that's true story. That's what happened. I remember that specifically with Vangelis's Blade Runner soundtrack. Vangelis released the Blade Runner soundtrack in 1994. We played it constantly, and we sold out of it all the time. Same thing goes for the comic shop. I would have Doctor Who on all the time, and I'd have my big Doctor Who section. Guess what I sold a hell of a lot of? Doctor Who stuff. Audiobooks, comic books. I guarantee you I had some of the best Doctor Who comic sales in the country. I was selling 200 comics a month. I had 100 subscribers for Doctor Who, a property comic. because we talked about it all the time. Hell, we would after we shut down the store, people would just hang out. We'd watch a couple episodes of Doctor Who, and we'd have like 15 people in the store. Mrs. Nerdrotic didn't like that very much because I wasn't coming straight home. But Cracklin sends a donut, a unicorn, and a monkey. Kinky, Cracklin. Kinky. Thank you for the $1.99. Stone Dog, 1971 for $2. Kirkman, a genius to finish the Walking Dead in 19. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes. That boy has made his money. And quite frankly, that's the only thing good he really did. I wasn't a big fan of, okay, wait. The Irredeemable Ant-Man was good. That was good too. But I wasn't big on Invincible and anything else he did, to be honest with you. Now you might disagree, but Turambar for $15. Been following you for about a year, but this is my first super chat. Why, thank you. Wow, $15 too. Very generous. Thank you very much. You're keeping the lights on here, quite literally. We're glad to hear I wasn't alone in my disappointment in media/entertainment. Keep up the great work, making our voices heard. And that's Turin. Thank you. And that's what this is. This is a we. You are important. The chat is important. The live streams, I'll repeat it again. They watch these things. There's somebody watching now. There is somebody from the industry. You know, I'm not saying Bob Iger's watching, but somebody has tuned in for a moment to see what we think. They probably don't agree. They probably don't like me very much, but you know what? They would if they got to know me. We might disagree on a few things, but generally, I love comic books. I live, breathe, and slept them. I lived, past tense. I can't talk right now. They were my life, quite literally my life for 10 years. I thought about them every second of every day for 10 years. And I was a massive fan before that. I've been going to San Diego Comic-Con since I was a wee little lad. I have lost count to how many Comic-Cons I've been to. I believe high 30s. Been going to Comic-Con for a long, long, long time. Modalicious for $2. Hashtag Dr. Y. That's a good one. I mentioned that in my review, Modalicious. It's either Dr. Y or Dr. How. It's more like Dr. Y. Or Dr. What? Doctor Who remains the best example of worst example of the vandalization of a character. Right up there with Captain America being a Yahtzee. So if you're not a Doctor Who fan, just imagine Spider-Man was originally a female. Or, I'll do the Star Wars analogy again. Now, Critical Drinker's analogy of a teddy bear and a giant big black dildo is a much better analogy. But that's his. Mine is if Luke Skywalker was originally a female and Palpatine and Yoda found her next to a black hole, extracted the force from her, and then claimed it was just this force that was in the air with midichlorians, but the midichlorians really came from her, the source. Then, to hide their shame, they changed the child's gender to Luke and dropped him off on a desert planet. That's what they did to Doctor Who's origin. Worse than what they did to Jake Skywalker, worse than what they did to Jean-Luc or Jake-Luc Picard, which was pretty bad. But what they did to Picard was so ridiculously stupid. I can't even take it seriously. I mean, watching Michael Chabon and Alex Kurtzman give interviews, Kurtzman is the most pretentious ass on the planet, and he knows it. That's what's frustrating. Kurtzman, if you want to know why people hate you, because you're getting away with it, dude. You're a total poser. You are one of the world's biggest posers. You just look at which way the wind is blowing, and that's what you agree with. You don't have an original bone cell in your body. And that's why people hate you. It's not even your trash writing. It's your smug, arrogant attitude and your absolute destruction of a beloved franchise just because you wanted to franchise. I don't even think your motivations were woke. You tried to be, but you couldn't even do that right. It is clear you're that guy. You're that guy who buys a Ferrari. The kind of guy who buys a Ferrari, doesn't know shit about the car, never heard of the car, or didn't care about the car 2 years earlier, but you came into some money and you wanted to buy your way into some status, or you wanted to look cool for the girls or the guys, whichever way you go. And yeah, you're one of those guys. And then you wanted to join a Ferrari club. And then you wonder why they all hate you or they can't stand you. Because you roll into that club thinking you did some basic research on Google and you think you can run the place. Bargain shop for $10. I look for, or Alex Kurtzman's also the equivalent of the little guy who buys the big truck. I look forward, no offense to the little guy who buys a big truck. I like a big pickup truck too. I do. Mrs. Nerdrotic hates the fact that my favorite car was my Rant, my Dodge Ram. I love my Dodge Ram. It's shitty. It's a shitty truck to have in San Francisco though. Bargain shop for $10. I look forward to your videos, buddy. It means a lot to hear how I'm thinking. You and Az are on the top. I am so thankful that the YouTube algorithm started throwing Az videos my way. And now, he's become a part of the family and he's a great addition. And there's more of you out there. Keep it up. Get a YouTube channel. You got a lot of downtime. Start a YouTube channel. See if you got it. Hey, not everybody does. You're not going to get an instant return. Though, there's some YouTubers out there. Hashtag not all. This is just a couple who had a pretty decent start and really wanted to be part of that fandom menace hashtag, but they didn't really understand what it was. They thought it was a group and an organization, and they felt that they were entitled to some sort of attention. And they were demanding to come on channels and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. I am happy to bring anybody on. I don't care how big your channel is. I've had people on with less than 1,000 subscribers, and I will continue to do that. I'm going to bring patrons on, Friday Night Tights in particular. And I will continue doing that just because it's fun. It's fun. It doesn't matter how big your channel is. It doesn't. But it does matter. I mean, like if you go off and make videos about me or something like that, I'm probably not going to invite you on. I'm not going to respond to the videos, but it depends. If you make a good argument, maybe still. But I mean, also, I don't think I'd be too harsh on that. I can be a very forgiving guy. Even if you make a video and you want to, make your argument on the live stream and actually have a debate about it, I'm open to that if you ask. I'm not going to chase you down. ComicHub, your number one source of put down paper Iron Man comics and get digitally satisfied with an Iron Lad, your alternate Marvel safe space. Enjoy, TC the Mandalorian. I know, safe space. And oh my God, where's my safe space picture? I don't have safe space in Snowflake. Where'd they go? Where are they? We got Sad Spidey. It's not going to be that image. It's not that image. It's not this one. There it is. Oh, it's just not, it's not high enough. Hang on. I got to get him up there. Just a moment. Sorry, folks. I really feel the need to have... Oh, that's not it. Gosh dang it. Sad Spidey. I don't know where it went now. Dang, that sucks. Hang on. I'll get another one up there. We're going to get Snowflake and Safespace. There they are. Boom, 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 boom. Well, that doesn't work. Well, hey, you can't really tell the difference, can you? Oh. Well, that doesn't work for me. Oh, that's what went wrong. Okay, I got it. All right, back to you. Sorry, I was messing around with that. There you go. Sorry, now I'm obsessed. I need, why is it doing that? There we go. We're just going to let them hang out right there because they're the savior of the comic book industry. That took way too long. Sorry about that. Thundercats Ho for $2. Lost job. Oh, man. See, okay. Eric July asked a question. By the way, hail, Young Ripa, if you're out there. Thank you for interviewing me on your podcast, and I want to have you back. Please subscribe to Eric July, Young Ripa 59. He has been on top of this comic stuff for a long time, and he actually reads the comic books. He actually reads Captain Marvel, America Chavez, all that stuff. Listen to this guy. And there's also a comics division, my co-host for Friday Night Tights. Please go check out that guy's channel. He's been in and around the comic scene. I would call it peripheral comics gate. He was there in the early days when it was starting up. So he's been around. That's a great channel you could check out. Woefully undersubscribed. Good guy and lifetime host of Friday Night Tights. Been on for a long, long time. And yeah, and Just Some Guy, check out that channel as well. That guy is on point. Every one of his videos hits it out of the park. So those, if you want to check out good comic shop or comic channels, those are good comic channels. Thundercats Ho for £2. Lost job, starting online business, keep fighting. Good. You know what? I love that. I lost my job. I'm starting something right now. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to whine about it, piss about it? There's absolutely nothing you can do. There is no one, there's no one to blame yet. We'll just say that. There's no one to blame yet. Right now, act of God. Something we might discuss later. Most definitely on the Exozone, but not here. But in the meantime, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no one to blame. We just got to make the best of it. And some of us have been screwed by life. Life tends to do that. You know, I was talking about this to Mrs. Nerdrotic yesterday. You know, when I was when I was struggling with my addiction, and every day was a crisis. Every day was the end of the world. And it was. I could have died that day. I was homeless. I was putting a bunch of poisonous chemicals in my body. I could have died at any time. So every day was a crisis. And now I'm hearing one of two things is happening right now, because I am concerned about my fellow alcoholics and addicts out there. There's a lot of relapsing going on. There's probably a lot of people, a lot of homeless people who are on heroin. There's probably a lot of people kicking right now. I know the supply chain has been cut, so there is most definitely a lot of people kicking. But there's also people rising up. And because we've been through crises before. I've been through something a lot worse than this. Now, I'm not saying this isn't bad. I'm not minimizing it at all. And it doesn't mean shit. It just means I've been through something worse so far. It could get worse, though. Okay, it could get worse. We're still early. So, yeah, if you're seeing this in the future, please don't judge me too harshly. But I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are all safe. I'm sorry to all the people who have lost work. So Young Ripa, swinging back to that, put out a tweet yesterday, and he asked, how many people do you know are you know what, or have lost their job? I can't even say what it is. And more people responded with lost their job, furloughed or laid off. I don't know what the difference is, fired or laid off. Hopefully most of you are furloughed and you're going to just come back. Hopefully they just hit that pause button. Okay, all out of bubblegum. I promised to clean up the Gelogia room today, so will you have to go along with me and help? all out of bubblegum for $5. No, I'm going to trust you on that one. I'm going to have to trust you on that one. You got to clean up the P corner. You got to do it yourself, but not going to hold your hand all out of bubblegum. I'm not going to treat you like a Marvel employee. John Zeller for $10. Love the Orville. Keep up the great work. You are the best. You have a great attitude of gratitude. Easy does it, my friend. Easy does it. One day at a time, brother. Yes. It's strange times we're living in, but I'm also, I have the best wife a guy could ask for. I know. It sounds like I own her or anything, but actually she probably owns me. 2 great kids, and we're together. We're safe. My moms are okay. They're elderly. They're in risk. Everybody's okay so far. I know some of you have had very bad things happen. My heart goes out to you. And I'm just going to try to keep your mind off it and keep you smiling a little bit, because I know it's not great for everybody. And I don't mean to sound like, oh, it's great for me. F you. No. I'm just practicing my gratitude. This is a very serious time. It is. And, I can't really talk about it because I'd be the worst person to listen to on the subject. So I'll just try to keep your mind off and talk about the stuff I know somewhat. Although if you ask some people, I don't know shit about comics or Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who. And yeah, you're right. Galaxy Quest is now more Star Trek than Star Trek. Commander Taggart is the leader we all need. Never give up. Never surrender. I forgot Galaxy Quest. Shame on me, Kyle. Yes, Commander Taggart is better than Picard. Everybody's better Picard now. I'm so disappointed in Patrick Stewart. Yes, Patrick Stewart. I'm not even calling him sir anymore. Not calling him sir. This was a massive, colossal vanity project for both Kurtzman and Stewart. Okay, and Star Trek is a vanity project for Alex Kurtzman. That's all it is. He just wants to say he runs a franchise. And this is the problem with all of our entertainment. It's filled with tourists, posers, people passing through, wanting to go do something else. It's not even the thing they're best at. And what Hollywood is finding out now is something fans have always known. If you want to make it in comics, if you want to make it in science fiction, if you want to make it in horror, that better be the thing you're best at. It's not your passing fancy, something you do on the side. You can count on one hand the number of people on this planet that can write a great horror story on the side. It's possible, but it's rare. It's like finding a unicorn. It's like a Brie Larson smile. No, I'm just kidding. She smiles. Just not in Captain Marvel. Nerdy Nazgul. What is up? The Nazgul. For £2, Gary, you would always get a warm welcome in Mordor. I would. I hope so. I mean, it's warm there. The very air you breathe is a poisonous gas. Not with 10,000 men. It is folly. One does not simply write an episode of Star Trek. TC the Mandalorian for £5. Local comic shop at night, also a brothel. Owner is a pimp. Owner is a pimp who don't discount no matter how many issue time you purchase. Respects the customers though. Hey, that is thinking out of the box. That's thinking with the box and outside of the box. If that was a true story, that'd be funny. I would make a movie on that. By the way, I want a big shout out. Hang on. I just got distracted. I forgot to get that. We're going to talk about those tweets, right? So let's talk about those tweets. But a big shout out to Chris Gore. Chris Gore. Just want to shout out to you. Hurin the Steadfast for 2 Canadian pesos. Yes, more Lord of the Rings. Okay, I will do more Lord of the Rings stuff. Sure. We could talk about it whenever. We could talk about lore. I mean, I know not everybody's going to want to talk about that, but that'll be the chill stream stuff. It'll be Lord of the Rings. Let's do it. Gandalf is my favorite character ever. So there you go. DC shut off comments on Gotham High. Yes, they shut off the comments on Gotham High. So do you think they'll still produce the book? Because that would tell me that maybe I shouldn't produce the book. Now, I was told yesterday that HBO Max has greenlit a live action DC high school movie. Have you guys heard that? I have not heard that, but that was from one of my insiders. Now, I don't know if that's public knowledge or not. I hope it's not based on this. Now, again, grain of salt. This is a private message I received last night because this person is in another country. I received it at 2 a.m. But yeah, so I don't know if that's true or not. That would be awful, but then it would be funny to do videos on. It would. I'll admit. I would pick that low-hanging fruit for sure. Oh, Gary, what will your chance... Hang on just a second. Wow, that just dropped massively. Why? Did I say something wrong? The count just went way down. That was crazy. Sorry about that. DC shuts off. I mean, listen, it's always going up or down, but when it drops like 2 like that, you go, woo. Is it something I said? By the way, this shirt is like ripped. So I do need to make a new one. Yeah, they cut off the comment section. Again, they don't want to hear from the fan. They don't want to hear from the fan. And the fan, that's what you were getting there, DC, was the truth. That was the truth. Now it pops up. God damn, that's so weird. Okay. Hey, hi everybody. I'm sorry. DC, that is the fan. And you know what? Read some of those comments, because you know what? They're not all F you, woke. It was woke. It was dumb. It was cringy. All the things above. But I bet you there was a comment in there that said something to this effect. While I appreciate you're trying to get new customers, DC, and you have been for quite some time, for a while it looked like the young adult market might have been that place. Back in 2007, I would completely understand that strategy. Harry Potter was just finishing, the last book was coming out, there's still a couple movies, and there's the Hunger Games, so give it a shot. More women reading comic books is more people reading comic books. We most definitely want that. But now it's 10 years later. This is clearly not working anymore. Comic shops are suffering, and comic shops are deeply immersed in your world, so they don't know what's really going on. They can listen to their fans, but they're so immersed that they're going to buy everything that you sell them, despite what customers tell them. Okay? And I wouldn't order one for my shop. But you know who would? And I said this in my video or one of my live streams, a completist. The only people who are buying, no women would buy this. Maybe a guy who's never bought a comic book before, who's coming in for a last minute gift for his niece, would pick it up quick without knowing what the hell's going on. That's not enough. You shouldn't publish stuff based on that. And the only sales you would make would be Batman completists. And listen, I was one of those people, guilty as charged. If it had Spider-Man in it, and it could have been trans space dog Spider-Man, I would have bought it because it said Spider-Man. I had to own everything Spider-Man. A Batman fan would probably buy it because it had Bruce Wayne's name in it. He wouldn't read it, or she wouldn't read it, but they would have it as part of their complete Batman collection. And yes, they exist. Completists. God bless them. I'm kind of one. I broke myself of it, but I still do it a little bit. A lot. Not as much as before. But you know what I'm saying. If you listened, go through that comment section and read it. And you might read something that you need to hear. But no, we're just going to shut it down. I'm afraid, Afraid of what? Some words on the internet? Who cares? I'm going to read Rich Johnston's response to my tweet live. I haven't even scanned it. I have no idea what it says. He could rip me in a proper fashion that I have no response for. I have no idea. I don't care. I'm going to read it. Honestly, I didn't expect him to respond. I mean, who am I? I am just a former comic shop owner. I'm a nobody. That was the bummer part. I'll have to admit, when I sold the shop, I wasn't a comics pro anymore. I wasn't part of that industry, and a lot of my identity was wrapped up into that, and I had to break that because it's not a good thing to have your identity wrapped up in. You can be an individual who owns a comic store, or a dad that happens to own a comic store, but not a comic store owner. That's my entire identity. That's my entire life. And it was, and that's not good. It wasn't healthy. Prepper Chris for $2. Oh, Gary, what will your chan now that faves are gone? What will my channel do now that the favorites are gone? Oh, I will find something to talk about. Prepper Chris, if you go look through the history of my channel, I kind of weave and bob and flow through pop culture. And that's the thing, is I don't have a singular overall. I have a favorite. I mean, Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who are my favorites. But I really love Star Trek, and I used to love Star Wars. And well, then there's Marvel Comics, which and DC Comics, and which I have a lot of interests. I've had an unhealthy obsession with pop culture, with comics specifically, for most of my life, and it paid off. And I wish my dad was here to see it. Thank you, Prepper Chris. I will, you know what? Maybe we'll just talk about Lord of the Rings. IK 1906 for $5. You mentioned your hatred of Funko Pops before. Why do you dislike them? They are so cute and collectible. I dislike what they represent. Now, for transparency's sake, I sold them. Made a lot of money. Made a lot of money off pop vinyls. Did not like them. But at first, I didn't see what they would represent. They came to represent the industry. Big Bang Theory, pop vinyls, SJW Marvel, everything that's wrong with comic books. Now, if you look at the item itself, it is representative of what the new fan is. The new fan is a pop vinyl fan. A pop vinyl is the same mold with some basic variations, just repainted. That's all. And the reason they're popular is because they're cheaper, because they're easy to make, because and you know what? You're all going to be stuck with them. There's going to be a lot of people stuck with those things, wanting to sell their big old pop vinyl collection. Dude, I have some. I own some. I own Doctor Who pop vinyls that will never see the light of day. Now, somebody sent me a pop vinyl TARDIS, which is in my Doctor Who closet, that I will display because that was a gift from somebody. So that's totally different. I treasure that. But I hate what they represent. Everything wrong with fandom. Kevin Smith's Comic Book Men. Everything wrong with fandom. I don't totally hate Kevin Smith. He's a shill. He's a sellout. But I don't hate him. I like when he tried to help Stan Lee. That went a long way to me liking him again. And he seems like a sensible guy. He does. But he's a shill. Crying at Star Wars. Come on, dude. But pop vinyls, everything wrong. Comic Book Men was terrible. It was awful. I would have picked a real comic book shop. You know what? You know how much weird drama, Tiger People or whatever. Listen, I'm not watching it. I'm not going to watch it. Too many people watch it. It's normie nip. But you could have done a show like that on comic shop owners. We're weird. There's a lot of drama around comic shop owners. In many cases, it's an older guy around my age surrounded by a bunch of youngsters. And that older guy around my age, and I'll speak for myself, kind of gets a triple Z list rock star status to these and very impressionable youngsters, and they're looked up to, and there's a lot of responsibility with that. You know what I'm saying? So with a little bit of Z-list power comes a lot of responsibility. Marvel needs to learn that. Michael Streltz for 200 pounds. Whoa, dude. Thank you. Thank you. All I can say is thank you. Gracias. Gracias. Dankeschön. Dankeschön. Royal Mail does not care about the workforce in the UK. They'd rather let people die than lose money. People watch whom are in the UK. We need help from the rich, or not because they are rich, and tough luck. Stop Royal Mail being greedy. Gary, this is to help normal people. Up to you. So I don't know what's going on. Is the Royal Mail not cleaning their mail? Or the mail is essential. That needs to go out. That absolutely needs to happen, Michael. But they need to be careful. But no, mail is absolutely essential. If we didn't have UPS, if we didn't have mail, if we didn't have the Royal Mail going on right now, everything would fall apart. So no, you need that mail. Amazon is essential. I will argue Amazon's very essential right now. People need to be entertained, because if they're entertained, they're not thinking about being locked down. And you know what? Maybe I'll do a video. Mrs. Nerdrotic suggested doing a video. I'll do it over on Nerdrotic Live on how to deal with confinement. Because as you know, I've made it public that I'm a grateful recovering drug addict and alcoholic. I got into a lot of trouble as a youth, and I got locked up for a long time, a couple years. 3 years of my life I spent behind bars. So clean and sober now, much different person, blah, blah, blah. But I know what it's like to be confined. I have been in the hole for 30 days. No human interaction. All I saw was a pair of hands for 30 days. You need human interaction. So it's good to be distracted. It's good to be project oriented. And sometimes, you're talking to somebody who was locked into a 10 by 10 with 5 guys and one Dean Koontz book. Twilight Eyes. I read it over and over again. But if they're not being careful, if they're not being sanitary, then that's a different story. So I don't know exactly what the problem is. If you have a problem with them working, we need some people to still work. We do. We absolutely do. Now, they need to take a lot of precautions. I would put them in hazmat suits, maybe, but no, the mail's really, really important right now. Willie Woodward for $2. Gary, I think I have an idea. Email it to you later. Yeah, Gary@nerdrotic.com. Please do. Please do. I would love to hear it, Willie, and it's good to hear from you. Now, I don't mean to sound insensitive to that. I hope you guys understand that, I don't want the mail carriers at risk. I don't want anybody at risk. But there's certain things that need to happen. And I would say that needs to happen. Willie Woodward, thank you again. Sindek for $2. Lord of the Rings chill stream is now my favorite, bro. Please more. Done. It was an absolute pleasure. And it's on Nerdrotic Live, and there was nothing planned. I just put up Lord of the Rings is better than Star Wars, changed my mind. I didn't even mean it to troll. I mean, it's better. It's clearly better. You're never going to change my mind. Star Wars, was still great. The original trilogy still sent me on my nerd path. Absolutely did. And hail George Lucas. And release the Snyder Cut. Japla821 for $5. Stories tried to carry Games Workshop stuff to drop Gamesworth before they close. Too pricey, and working with GW from what store owners... Okay, Games Workshop. All right. Too pricey, and working with Games Workshop from what store owners me say it's pretty bad. Oh, so, okay. Sorry, the wording on that was a little rough. I understand. I just wanted to make sure I interpreted that well. So working with Games Workshop sounds like it's as difficult as working with Marvel. Yeah, a lot of companies are. I believe it. I am not too familiar with working with Games Workshop, though. I have no opinion on that. But if it's anything like working with Marvel, yeah, an aloof organization that's never given a fuck. Ever. about the comic shops. And that was before Disney bought them. And I thought I was dumb, naive, freaking dumbass me. Thought when Disney bought them, I'm all, dude, maybe they'll be different. No, they were worse. It was worse. And I am trying. I have a hard drive. I have actually 3 hard drives that I dropped that have all my old podcasts on them from the comic shop days. And I'm going to, once I can get to a place where I can get that hard drive working or extract the information, I will put on my website the podcast I did with my employees and my manager the day Disney bought Marvel. And you want to talk about Nerdstradamus. Everything that's going down right now, we talked about. Now, it's kind of a mess. It's 9 people talking over each other, so I'll do my best with the audio. But yeah, we did an emergency podcast at the shop that day. And the podcast used to be called We Have Issues, and you can't find it anymore because it used to be on podcast.com, which went under. Peter Ford for $4.99. If you opened a geek store and stocked Eagle Moss models regularly, just hashtag take my money. I would. I love Eagle Moss. Absolutely adore Eagle Moss. You bet. As a matter of fact, I've got my Viper. I went to the Star Trek convention. This is badass. And I've got more up on the ceiling. I've got a Battlestar Galactica on the ceiling. So I went to a Star Trek convention and bought Battlestar Galactica stuff. Peter, I will sell it. I like Eagle, and they're nice. They're very nice people. I'm sorry they are forced to, make Star Trek Discovery garbage, but hey, you got to pay the bills. I understand it. I wouldn't buy it, but I'll buy all their other Star Trek stuff. Season 11 made me not watch season 12. Variable 556 for $2 for Doctor Who. Yes, and that was a smart decision because season 11 was bad. Season 12 wasn't as, I would say. No, it was even more woke. Because it did damage to the lore. They went back in history for Jodie Whittaker, for a female doctor, for agenda, for woke-ass feminist partisan politics. They undid 50 years of effing canon, and yes, to this day, I am still enraged about that. F you, Chris Chibnall. Elton John, I love that, for £2. Who remembers Jamaican Doctor Who from the real McCoy? Oh, I don't. Elton John. I'll have to look at that. Zero, maybe it'll, I don't know, spark my memory, but I don't. But there are things I don't remember that I've experienced. Like, for example, our good friend Geeky Candy, who was, you know what? She's not, she doesn't partake in the chats as much as she used to because she's running her own channel now, but she used to be in the chat quite a bit. She's got a wrench. She started her own channel. She guest starred on Friday Night Tights a couple of weeks ago. And apparently somebody had a problem with the conversation we had on Friday Night Tights that I, to this day, do not remember having this conversation. I was there. I saw the video and I'm like, was I spacing out during this time? Was I doing something else? Or maybe it was all the drugs I did in the 80s. I'm guessing it's answer C, or maybe it's just D, all the above. And so somebody did a live stream on her, calling her an ist for a couple hours because she used the term African American. When describing somebody, which is something I would do. If you don't know the person's name and you're trying to be specific, it's nothing. Oh man, I can hear it now. Well, that could be unconscious ists or isms and whatever. No, we were talking about a person. You're live. A million things are going through your head, and you're just trying to get to your punchline. Usually, tell your story. But somebody stretched a whole live stream out of it. Now, I don't know if it was an April Fool's or not. It was a bad one if it was. But shit happens on YouTube. But we love Candace, and she will be back. And she's not an ist or a phobe, but maybe they have a problem with women. Zero durability for Canadian $2, as is hilariously serious. And he is seriously hilarious. Did I say durability? Zero durability. Zero duality. Zero durability. What the fuck? See, it's hard to pay attention. And I guess they were mad at her for not Googling it. And the best part about it is they got mad at her, right? For just describing somebody as African American. And then in the same sentence, the lady who I don't know, nobody knows what ladies, we don't know the person's name that Candace was talking about. But when the host started talking about that person, they called her the black woman. And their whole argument was you could have Googled her name instead of describing her like that. Also, within that sentence, they were on my channel, watching my channel, they called us a bunch of white guys. I love the internet. I really do. And you know what? That's Candace has arrived. She has arrived. Crazy Cat Guy. Thank you for the rainbow unicorn for $1.49. I appreciate the phallic symbol. Just saying. Oh, just saying. What's up, man? Just saying was the guy that Dana Schwartz had a little tiff with that made it into Bounding into Comics. So you a star, man. Have you ever talked to EVS and the CG guys about putting out exclusives from your shop? That would be exciting to have West Coast exclusives. I have brought it up in live streams before, just saying that as a giant, if I was a shop owner right now, as a giant middle finger, I would absolutely carry all those books out of spite. Out of spite. Now, is that good business sense? It wouldn't hurt me to carry a few here. The thing is, it's better for them to just sell their books direct because they'd have to give me a discount. And why would they do that when they sell out? Now, if we wanted to talk, what you're bringing up is a good idea. If you're talking about maybe having a low print run on cheaper paper of some exclusives, certainly, absolutely, I would sell those. Yes, 100%. And I've talked about that. I talked about it a couple of years ago when I had no subs. I would absolutely do that. I'm the kind of person, you tell me, when I see people getting picked on and I see groupthink that I generally think is poisonous, I tend to be that middle finger. I like it. I find that entertaining. And I feel that a lot of them have been wronged. A lot of them have been wronged. They have been blackballed because they have some political beliefs. And we're talking some political beliefs, not even all. And they have been called the worst things possible. And I have been called the worst things possible. I have witnessed what they have gone through. I have been around the CG. I did not partake in it. I don't use the hashtag. I don't make a comic. It's evolved from being a consumer movement to being kind of an indie publisher movement. I don't have a problem with that at all. Never did. I don't know why both can't exist, but apparently to some people they can't, and that's fine. I don't get involved in drama or anything, but I have been around. I was in England Team's live streams. Like I said before, Comics Division has been there since day one. I was watching Doug Ernst. I have been a subscriber to Zach since he had 16,000 subs, maybe less. I've super chatted Zach. I think he might have been my first super chat to give to somebody when he used to do live streams. When he put his phone on his crotch, or he'd have a shot of his crotch. Yeah, I remember those days, and I've been around, and they put up with a lot of shit. And what Jim Jeffries did to Zach at Comic-Con. I saw it all. I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. Things got ugly. It got flat out ugly. There were threats of violence. Doxing. And that's what I mentioned in my video. Just to be clear, Joe Quesada wished a very famous troll a happy birthday. This very famous troll has doxed people. And that very famous troll is a provocateur. I mean, that's their job. And an early contributor to the CG scene, Susan Auger, she used to work for me. So for like a minute. That's a story for another day. Diversity in Comics Bear for $4.99. Someone said that more women want to watch the last Rambo movie than the Charlie's Angels. Even the SJW's target audience rejects that stuff. That was Andre from Midnight's Edge, who found double check his information, but I heard that from Andre at Midnight's Edge, and I don't doubt that guy. That apparently Rambo had a larger female audience than Charlie's Angels, just like Aquaman had a larger female audience than Captain Marvel. Why do you think that is? How do you feel about Western comics? I'm writing one now, and an old friend who does comics is going to draw it. I love him, Kevin Leister, for $5. It's a niche, but I dig him. I'd read it, but it's not for everybody. But it's cool. Just Saying is a member. Welcome, Just Saying. And good job taking on Dana Schwartz again. Thank you, and welcome, my friend. Oh, by the way, yes, so back to EVS. I spoke with EVS. EVS reached out to me a couple days ago, and again, apologies. I don't check my Twitter DMs every day. Because I hate Twitter. I freaking hate Twitter. That's why I've been putting off going into Rich Johnson. We're going to end with the Rich Johnson response. Okay. I don't like it. So I didn't see his message, but we talked, and I think he's going to be on Friday Night Tights a week from tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we got the Critical Drinker and Az. Az is coming back. So we got Odin, Comics Division, Jeremy as Critical Drinker, yours truly. It's going to be a hell of a show. Tune in. Scratch that. It's earlier tomorrow, okay? Because of we don't want to keep Drinker and Az up too late. So for the UK listeners, it's 10 p.m. in the UK. It's 2 p.m. Pacific time. We will be live for Friday Night Tights, and then it'll go back to 5. After that. Kevin Lassiter, thank you for becoming a member at the proto-molecule level. I appreciate it. James, I want to say your name correctly. So Nelpka, James Nelpka, welcome to the proto-molecule level. I appreciate it. There will be a members-only live stream later today. Some people argue that storyboarding is bad in comic book movies, but I look at the success of anime as proof it works. Anime is almost a page-to-screen adaptation, and the community is only growing. No, anime and manga are exploding, and they are going to be the victors in all this. Crofu for $10. You are right. And when I open a store, I will carry it. I didn't carry manga before because I didn't know much about it. I am learning about it now, and I will carry it, especially here in San Francisco. It makes a lot of sense to carry it. And it's the future. Now, I prefer not Western, but like American comics. That's what I prefer. I prefer that type of art. But the storytelling in manga is what I've read so far. It's pretty damn good. All Out of Bubblegum for $5. The Geologia room is now done. Thanks for the help, Gary. Hey, you're welcome, man. Anytime I can help. And thank you for the $5. And thank you for cleaning the Geologia room. J Hando 4 for $5. It goes without saying, but one way to save Doctor Who, 86 Chibnall, Whitaker, and the PC crowd, keep those who genuinely want to make good Doctor Who. I would recommend, as showrunner, Nicholas Briggs. I think he's been in training for quite some time. And why not? Now, it sucks that he had to bend the knee to this shit, but I don't think he had much of a choice. I think if you... I won't use the analogy. Let's just say he's on his deathbed when he's 150 years old. And somebody asked him to tell the truth, and I bet you he wouldn't be on board for this stuff. That's so. And again, we will be talking about more Doctor Who soon. Sorry, I've left out. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow quite a bit, actually. You're spot on about franchise tourism. Narcissistic ego tourists who only want to flex and preach, not giving a toss about the product. Darth Sweeney, 5 pounds. You're right. You guys are right. So many of you, we've all been saying that. And you're correct. They just fly through as a stepping stone, don't give a fuck, leave it in ashes when they leave. And while they were there, and listen, a lot of us have been offering what is called constructive criticism. You're a bunch of sensitive little Nellies. That's what you are. You're a bunch of wusses. You're thin-skinned. How did you get to Hollywood and then you're so thin-skinned? How did you become a comic book writer and artist when you're so thin-skinned? Man, good luck coming on over here, because some of y'all are trying to come over to this platform. Man, don't read your comment section. It'll ruin your life if you're thin-skinned. And that is the toughest thing that I find. I mean, listen, there's people who've been YouTubing for years on this platform and have it completely figured out and 1 million subscribers, and I doubt I'll ever get to that, and that's fine. But what I've learned is you do not take your comment section to heart, and you do not let anything go to your head. That's it. Just look at it as you want to read it, you want to listen, but don't let it sink in too much. It's just words. That's all. You meant like an authentic Brie Larson smile, says Salsa Shark for Salsa Shark 01 for $2. Yes, an authentic Brie Larson smile, which do exist. I mean, she was fine in Scott Pilgrim. Best of Doctor Who 12. Is this a collection of clips with you, Doomcock Drinker, and many others laughing at that shit? Yes. That's a pretty good idea. That's a pretty good idea for a video. Snark Boojum for 379 rubles. That's a great idea for a video. Somebody put together 2 hours of Fall of Skywalker rants. I put it on my Twitter. I'm in there. And they did it in order. So you're reviewing the entire movie, and it's little sound bites in order of about 20 of us going through the movie. And there's me, and there's Jenny Nicholson, and there's Jesse Milestone, and Angry Joe, and just a bunch of people. It's great. It's great, and it comes from all sides. But in a lot of ways, Fall Skywalker did bring the fandom back together again. Hey, Gary, now would be an appropriate time to start planning changes to your site. If you want to talk about it, get back to me and when we can set a time. Loquacious Primate, I need you to reach out to Mrs. Nerdrotic at first. Now, I don't have a lot of time to discuss website stuff, as you can see, but she will tell you what I need. And if you can do that, if you can help build up a shop like quick, then you the man. So follow her or on Instagram or follow her on Twitter. It's at Agent Bossy Boots. Or you can DM me and I'll try to forward it to her. Chew is now a member at the proto-molecule level. Awesome. So thanks, Loquacious Primate. I appreciate it. Yeah, we got to get that going for sure. And Chew, welcome to the proto-molecule level. I appreciate you. Crazy Cat Guy for $5. Really looking forward to tomorrow evening's Friday Night Tights with the Critical Drinker. I'll be there with bells on. Awesome. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Absolutely worth changing the time for. And Drink, if you're out there, I'll always change the time for you. You're always welcome. And Mahler, I miss you. I know you're busy. And I'm sorry I don't like Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm just kidding. Mahler is awesome. Mahler, Critical Drinker, top tier YouTubers. That's what I aspire to. Check out Mahler's latest video. It's an April Fool's, and it's freaking hilarious. It's hilarious. Oh, shit. I thought it was... Man, that jumped on me. That jumped on me. Thank you, Crazy Cat Guy. Son of a Wolf for $2. Hail, Gary. Hope you and yours are staying safe. Right back at you, Son of a Wolf. Mrs. Nerdrotic is doing fine. Nerdrotic Jr. is gaming. He's doing great. Nerdrotic the Tall is still taking his online course, so it's full steam ahead, but our salon is closed. And Mrs. Nerdrotic Salon. It's only R in like the eyes of the state. I've got nothing to do with it. And if that goes on too long, that'll be a problem. But right now it's fine. Now I mean like 6 months and stuff like that. But it's not optimal, but we're doing okay. I mean, thank God for YouTube. But YouTube is not supposed to, pay bills. It's a temporary. I mean, I'm having fun. This platform can get pulled out from under me tomorrow. I don't know. So yeah, so Loquacious Primate is right. This is a good time to let you know I got a BitChute. I've got a Facebook group. I got a Facebook page, and I have a website. So if you just search on Facebook, search Nerdrotic, you'll find them. Nerdrotic.com is my website. If anything happens, that's where everything goes. And I've got a BitChute, and I've got a Patreon too. And there's a very affordable dollar level where you get a bunch of live streams for the week. It's like half hour. It's like real person. I'm usually setting up a live stream where I'm just like talking about life, but that's exclusive to you. Some nobody, life is risk. Freedom requires grit and accepting risk. Yes. And can I add to that? Some nobody, because that's brilliant. Anticipating risk. Freedom requires a little of paranoia that somebody's always going to come and take it away. And the government running everything is not a good thing. Is not a good thing. The only people that were slower than the government on all of this, and listen, I'm not criticizing the man in charge. I'm not. Everybody's doing the best they can with this situation. I think it's being... people are being opportunistic. There's no human could be prepared for this shit. But the only people who were slower than the government were Diamond Comics and Marvel and DC. Just wanted to say that. Jaeger Bomb for $2. I'm trying to ass tarts. Past 5 is about to premiere at 2 p.m. Ass tarts, part 5 of what? Part 5 of what, Jaeger Bomb? I am so confused what that is supposed to be. Let me know in the chat. Was that a misspelling? Because it says ass tarts. Astartes? I don't know what that's supposed to say. Axanar? I don't know. Alpha Omega Records for 20 pounds. Check out this guy who happens to be being interviewed by a close friend here in London. Love to you, Gary. Your work is amazing. From an alphabet person who hates the pandering. Alpha Omega Records. That's awesome. That's awesome. I will check that out after the show. I can't check out YouTube. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the $20. I will most definitely check it out, but I can't check it out during the show. I can't check out YouTube channels during the show. It's too risky. But I promise I will do it after the show. And if it's good, I will put it in the next show. Okay. Leela Ross for Australian $2. Keep it up. These people ruined my entertainment. They did. They ruined our entertainment, Leela, and we will not forget it. And no, we don't want peace. Or all of, oh, you want peace now. So when everything was fine, you were running around fucking up all our entertainment, giving us the middle finger. But now when shit's getting real and your job is on the line, oh, you want peace now. That's not disingenuous at fucking all. Zero duality. Durability. What the fuck, man? He says, I know, sorry. For Canadian $2. My bad. Zero duality. Jedi Bill 797 for $1.99. Can we, the fans, save all of pop culture? Yes, we are. We are saving pop culture. One day at a time, we are doing it. And, it's strange. It's strange that largely the people who are trying to stop it are the ones we want to give money to. We want to keep giving you money. We just want you to shut up. That's all. Oh, and there's a very, very, very small group of YouTubers who couldn't find success and try to be an obstacle as well. But it doesn't work, unfortunately, because you can't make a platform on that. This is based on love. I love comics. I love Doctor Who. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. And so do you. You care enough to talk about it. If we didn't love it, we just go, fuck it. Fine. Go burn. Who cares? And there will be a point that happens. I believe Doctor Who has arrived at that point. I believe all that you're left with, Doctor Who, is the fandom that doesn't buy anything. Is the fandom that just wants to watch your show and tweet about it and probably not watch the entire show. Is the fandom that doesn't buy any of your merchandise. It's the fandom who likes your show because of the message and not because of the entertainment. That's not a fan that's ever going to last. Adam Wolford for $5. Hey, remember in 300 years, Vlad Epstein didn't delete himself, but Jeff Epstein also didn't delete himself. Yes, Adam, you're right. What comes around, or no, what has happened before will happen again. Orange Muse Meyer is a member at the Geloja level. Welcome. Thank you. Leela Ross, Australian $5. I am transgender. These people are making it impossible for me. Why would anyone take me seriously when this is the media representative or representing us? Sorry to mess that up, Leela. Leela, they are using you. And you know that. And I talk to people in the alphabet community who are quite aware, we just heard from them, who are quite aware that you are being used. Just like Alex Kurtzman is using Star Trek, just so he can, for vanity. You are being used as vanity projects, as what Zach calls a purse puppy, and that dehumanizes you even more. Because once it's not in vogue anymore, Leela, you know they will move on from you. You do remember in the late 80s and early 90s, it was very chic to be clean and sober, to be part of a 12-step program. Remember Aerosmith and Roseanne and Tom Arnold were all very public about being in the 12-step program. So was Carrie Fisher. And they would get on Oprah and talk about their 12 steps. And look at all of them now. It was just a trend to them. It's life for us. That's a life decision for you. By the way, you're always welcome here. My belief is you do you. Don't tell me what to do, and that's fine. If you ask me nicely to refer to you a certain way, I most definitely will, for sure. And thank you for being here, and thank you for being brave enough to speak up, because they like to pretend you don't exist, Leela. Not unless you're lock, stock, and barrel with them. You just want to enjoy your entertainment, probably because you're secure in your decision. A lot of them aren't, Leela. So stay strong, be safe, and welcome. Sarah B. for $5. Hail, Gary Nerdrotic family. Thanks for your encouragement, strength, and hope during the thing that shall not be named. And you're right, gratitude is essential. 18 years for me, one day at a time. Ooh, 18 years, Sarah B. That is brilliant. That is epic. Yeah, I had 18 years when I relapsed. No, 17. Yeah, I was 18. It's a murky period there. Yeah, I had many years. Many years. I am going on, I just had my, sixth year sober. So one day at a time, Sarah, congratulations. Sonic Spaz he's a member at the Geloja level. Look at all the members, 12 members today. That is brilliant. Thank you. God, I got to give you guys a show later. I got to rest my voice. But I think I might be, Doomcock and I talked about doing an Inquisition, and I didn't check back with him, and that was my fault. We might do another Inquisition tonight, so there might be another live stream tonight. It's 2:30. Yeah, I bet you we could do one tonight if he's game. By the way, hail Doomcock. Please subscribe to Doomcock, one of my BFFs on the internet, although I have no idea who he is, and I'm not lying. But we talk all the time, and I hope he's doing well. go check out his videos. Also, let him know if you're getting notifications from him or not, because I'm not. Something's really buggy is going on with certain channels. So please support him. Hail Gary, welcome to my IST list, my favorite IST YouTuber list. Thanks for keeping up with great content. Ashley Harmon, thank you so much. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate you. I'm having fun. This isn't the most fun time. I'm trying to make the best of it. I hope I'm entertaining you. I'll have to admit, it's not that tough. I didn't go out very much. I was doing YouTube a lot, but I missed the gym. But I know some people miss their jobs right now. And I'm just trying to keep your mind off that. And keep me posted. Drop me emails. I'll try to answer as many as I can. But just let me know how you're doing. Make sure you're okay, and reach out to somebody and talk. If the anxiety starts coming in, find a friend. Isolation is so bad. Yeah, Sarah will know that. It can be bad. We need to interact. That's why live streaming is a godsend. That's why this is essential. That's why YouTube should be doing everything it can to make sure this thing is running smoothly. Because right now, I would say it's the most important platform on the planet. I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying that, for a lot of reasons. It's an alternative to the news. Didn't Dana Schwartz say that Merritt was misogynist? Chris Persia, the best wrench from Canada for sure. You represent your country well. I will be voting for you over Justin Trudeau if I have a vote as an American. Thank you for the Canadian $5. She did. Merritt is misogynist. Jer Hermy for $2. Not looking forward to Friday Night Tights tomorrow. Won't smile. Well, then you're not subverting our expectations, Jer Hermy. But we're glad to have you here. Thank you for the $2. Modalicious for $5. Anyone else having bizarre dreams about past relatives, visiting them in various settings lately? Maybe just something I ate before bed. That's weird that you bring that up. I had a dream about my dad, Modalicious. First time in a long time. I thought it was because I mentioned him in a live stream, but maybe there's something going on. Has anybody been experiencing deja vu? Anything weird? I had a major deja vu thing with my son the other day. Bjorn for 100 Swedish krona. Imagine this scenario in The Hunt for Red October when Sean Connery says one ping only. If they were to launch a Chinaman, now it would, oh dude, come on, man. I can't read this. If they were to launch somebody, if they were to launch a person from the country of China, now is that racist? And would you in the chat laugh? Hail Gary and chat. I'll laugh at any joke, Bjorn. I'll laugh at any joke. I think any joke is on the table to a certain extent. I've got my limits. I'm not a free speech absolutist, but I think it should exist. But I can't say that in my chat because you know what, Bjorn? Somebody could isolate that video or the audio. I doubt they would, and whatever. I read something by mistake, but I don't mind you saying it. I don't. But somebody else might. You might suffer the consequences from that. But a joke's a joke, folks. Political correctness is social tyranny. So I don't play the game. I don't care. If somebody's offended by something I say, tough shit. Sorry to hear that. Really sorry. Nope, I'm actually not sorry to hear that. But I said that to be nice. Kind of like our Friday Night Tights. When poor Candace just describes somebody as African American. It's not like she dropped an N-bomb or something like that. And then, of course, we were referred to as white dudes, and which I don't mind. You can call me a white dude. You can call me a honky. You can call me a peckerwood. I don't give a shit. But I realize there's differences too. I do. That's why I don't practice. So I don't say stuff like that. But I see you as individuals. But apparently to some, seeing somebody as individuals, that's is too. And again, not playing your fucking games. Just not. I know it's in my heart. And it's not hate for a group of people. I don't like what certain entertainers are doing to my entertainment and our stories. Yes, our stories. Yes, we're entitled to that shit because we helped make it. We funded it. We are the investors, a-holes. So no, we don't technically own it, but you better act like we do. Son of a Wolf is a member at the proto-molecule level. Welcome, welcome. CZ for £2. Warhammer 40K fan film. Oh, okay. Astartes is how did I say that right? Astartes equals Space Marine. Oh, cool. I know nothing about 40K. I special ordered some in my shop, but there was a hobby shop up the street called Franciscan Hobbies that sold all that stuff and trains. I have an amazing Spider-Man train set that works. I haven't seen that thing in years. I wonder what I did with it. That's cool. Go check it out. I know all the Warhammer fans are going to check it out because you guys are Warhammer fans and manga fans and DC fans. You're just hardcore. You're hardcore. We need to have a fan off. We need to see who is the most hardcore fan. It might be Release the Snyder Cut fans right now, to be honest with you. Because they're getting into, listen, I respect you. I want it released. Some of y'all are getting in like Twilight territory. You need to if somebody's against releasing the Snyder Cut, don't destroy them, but I don't know why you'd be against it, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'd watch, if Justice League was on, I'd watch it for a little while. I would. I like Ben Affleck's Batman, and Henry Cavill as Superman is perfect. They need to do something with that guy. Son of a Wolf, thank you again for joining at the proto-molecule level. Jaegerbomb. And for Warhammer fans, man, thank God your stuff has not been destroyed by this bullshit. Jaegerbomb for $5. It's called Astartes. Okay, part 5 is the last part of Astartes show that was going on. CGI animated show in 40K universe and will have a spinoff later on. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. Well done. Siri Causeway for £5. Nothing to say. She just Siri is it? I almost said she. They just donated. Thank you very much. Norwegian Kryptonian for 55 Norwegian krona. Sitting in a bunker here behind my wall, waiting for my worms to come in perfect isolation here behind my wall. Oh, sitting in a bunker here behind my wall. I don't want to sing it like that. Roger Waters, so I'll say it. Sitting in a bunker here behind my wall, waiting for the worms to come in perfect isolation here behind my wall. Roger Waters, 1979. Someday I'll sing it. I'm not a singer, though. I'm not Doomcock. I mean, I can sing, but it's it's just best not. Look, I start singing just a little bit, and I lost and they came back. It's been weird today. Gary, to the virtue signaling phonies, you are literally the son of Satan. Keep giving them hell, brother. Thanks for getting online with us each day. Fizenthorpe, thank you. And of course, you're referring to my Son of Satan shirt, which has become too faded to wear. I need to get a new Son of Satan shirt. But yes, one of my favorite comics, and I will be the Son of Satan to those son bitches for destroying our comics, destroying Star Trek, destroying Doctor Who, destroying Star Wars, and they're coming for Lord of the Rings, folks. All right. That's 2 hours, 23 minutes. My voice is struggling, and I'm probably going to be live streaming later, so I'm going to cut it off there. If I missed a super chat, I will read it on Friday Night Tights, okay? I will scan it. I think I missed one yesterday. I will read that on Friday Night Tights as well. Thank you all for being here. I would like to thank my wrenches. Mikey Woods, Mark Lurzeth, According to Christy, Nihilist Shadow, Starry-Eyed Girl. Who else is here? Chris Persia, the best wrench in Canada. I know Az wasn't using his wrench, but he has one. Please subscribe to him. I would like to thank everyone who has super chat. Thank you so much. Bjorn, Flavius Alicanther, Fizenthorpe, Norwegian Kryptonian, Siri Causeway, Jaegerbomb, CZ, Son of the Wolf, thank you for becoming a member, Bjorn, Modalicious, Jer Hermy, Chris Persia, Ashley Harmon, Sonic Spaz, Sarah B, Leela Ross, Orange Muse Meyer, Adam Wolford, Jedi Bill 797, Zero Duality, Alpha Omega Records, Some Nobody, Problem Being, Crazy Cat Guy, Chew, Loquacious Primate, Salsa Sharko 1, Snark Boojum, Darth Sweeney, J Hando 4, All Out of Bubblegum, Crow Fu, James Nalipk, sorry if I screwed that up, Kevin Lassiter, Dr. Crow, Just Saying, Kevin Lassiter, Diversity in Comics Bear, Just Saying, Zero Duality, Heels versus Babyface, Peter Ford, Variable 556, Elton Jong, Japla 821, Sindek, Willie Woodward, Michael Stretz for 200 pounds. Thank you so much. IK 906, Prepper Chris, Hurin the Steadfast. Yes, more Lord of the Rings. Lady Gravemaster, DC shut off comments on Gotham High. Yes. TC the Mandalorian, Nerdy Nazgul, Kyle Gardner, John Zeller, All Out of Bubblegum, Thundercats Ho, TC the Mandalorian, Bargain Shop, Modalicious, Turin Turimbar, Stone Dog 1971, Cracklin, and Scooby D, Problem Being, Joe Flowflix, Bargain Shop, Christopher Arcella, Keith Mayo, Joe W, Jack Bauer, Flower Angel 1070, Dan Piper, Ferdinand Hubman, Huron Steadfast, Marcus Aurelius, Fortunas, Ken Kersey, CM Shazam, and the Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews. And Cracklin, thank you again for the Viking helmet. Bjorn, sorry, forgot Chinese man was a no-no in America. Did not intend to get you in trouble. Dude, it's okay. No, you guys make a joke. Bjorn, I appreciate it. You didn't have to give me another 50 Swedish krona. I have to work around YouTube's nonsense. I wish I could say it all. You guys, I mean, like, listen, if you're telling a joke, it's fine. It's fine. If your hurtful comments towards somebody in the chat is not fine, and my mods will take care of that. And spamming, I don't like that. But dude, yeah, you guys are cool. You are always cool with me. Flavius Alicanther for $2. We don't own the IPs, but our pounds make or break it. Damn right. Thank you all, everybody, again. I will see you tomorrow. Not all who wander are lost, and may the wings of liberty never lose a fucking feather.